Hey. Hey, whoa, easy. I know. I get it. You're on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and I don't even know what the last thing you remember is, so your worst case scenario, you probably think that you've been kidnapped, but that's not what happened. I promise you that is not. It's not what happened. I guess they were right. You lost your memory. Yeah, I suppose it's very easy to dismiss. I'm sure you remember yesterday, right? Well, yesterday for you was several years ago. You see, you and I have known each other for a long time. In fact, we've been pretty much inseparable. Take that for how you will. No, I didn't kidnap you. You came with me willingly, and if you don't believe me, then why were you not chained up? Why did you wake up in a bed, in a room with a door that was unlocked? I had no intention of keeping you in chains. I have no intention of selling you to some slavery place. The only thing I need you to do is listen to me, because I swear to you, I understand that you are so skeptical of everything that I'm saying because you don't believe that I'm a friend. And I understand that, but I swear to you that I am. I mean, you can draw your sword, but I have your other one right here, so. Not only you're gonna be kind of gimped, but I literally have a weapon to defend myself against you. Of course, if you did swing, I would just use it to block. I'm not gonna fight you back. I expected that question at some point. Who are you? But, you know, I didn't have enough time to prepare myself. You see, I didn't kidnap you, and I swear to you that I have no intentions of hurting you. But what I'm about to say is going to sound really bad. Draw your weapon and look in the reflection. Go ahead. I'm giving you permission to draw your weapon in front of me. You don't look how you remember, do you? A little bit older. Maybe hair looks a little different. You're scared. You're scared that I might be telling the truth, that you don't remember the last few years. And once again, I swear to you, I don't say it to hurt you. I don't say it to scare you. I say it because it's happened. But here's the good news. I do know everything that's happened to you in the last few years, and I will help you remember it all. But what you need to do is you need to listen to the words that I am saying. You need to sit down, listen to me, because I promise you, I'm not going to hurt you. And if at the end of all this you decide that you don't believe me and you want to draw your sword against me, that we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I'm hoping that they were right, that you will remember things as I tell you them, that your memories are not lost, they're just locked, and I need to help you jog them. I need to help you unlock that memory because I am not your foe. How did you get here? That's a long story, but something that you probably should know is that you didn't just fall asleep, per se. The thing is, You didn't fall asleep, and I didn't knock you out. You died. And I am the one that killed you. Now wait, just listen to me. I didn't want to do it. I did not want to. Okay, I'm still coming to the realization that what I did to you wasn't permanent, and you're here now. Okay, I'm still shaky, because it happened like a fucking hour ago! So you need to put down your sword, because I promise you I would have never done it if I didn't have to, and if you remembered what happened, you would agree with me that I needed to do what I did. I would have never done that to you otherwise. Look in my eyes. You've always been a good judge of character ever since I knew you. You always told me when you had a bad feeling about someone, you looked in their eyes, listened to their words, and you told me you didn't feel right about it. So look into my eyes and tell me, am I lying? The worst thing you can do right now is not listen to me. Because what if what I tell you, you remember? All I'm asking you to do is hear me out, and if at the end of it you don't believe me, we'll figure that out. I am not gonna make you stay. I'm not gonna make you be by my side, but you should probably know we're in the middle of the ocean. No, we're not sailing away from Japan. We're sailing to it. And you and I have a long journey ahead of us. I told the others to go ahead, and that I would deal with you when you awoke. Put down your sword, and I'll go make you some tea. You taught me how, after all. Good. Now why don't you come with me? We can sit down at the table and discuss this like civilized people. And if you want to cut my head off after you think that I'm lying to you, you are more than welcome to try. Sit down. This is the story of you. I rounded the corner, holding my balance as my strides became longer in hot pursuit of my target. He looked back to see that I was still close behind, and his footsteps quickened. Both of our heavy breaths echoed in the tight alleyway. In broad daylight, this bastard found it appropriate to assault a fruit stall owner and take him for his entire commission that day. No way in hell was I gonna let that happen. Stop! You're under arrest! You didn't think that'd work, did you? Well, no, legally, but I have to ask that before I hurt you, so, I was kind of hoping you'd keep going. You don't find it mildly ironic that you want to physically hurt me, because I physically hurt someone else. Don't you find that kind of hypocritical? Well, if we're going by the philosophy of do unto others as you've done to yourself, you kind of had this coming. I mean, that's kind of how karma works and all that. Haven't you heard of the golden rule? I just think it's a strange use of Godsman's time to... Hey, wait a minute! Stop talking to me about all this! Get away from me! You're the one who started the conversation, man. I was just going along with it. Well, drop it! And drop dead, too! Is talking making this awkward for you? Should we just not look at each other, too? Do you want some music, or would that be too cheesy? I can hum heroic music if you want. Is this what passes for her parole offices now? That's patrol officer to you. For instance, I'm an officer on patrol for scumbags like you. Now then, suck my bolas! I reached onto my belt and grabbed a pair of bolas, 2 large and heavy weights attached via a chain. I threw them hard and they caught around the man's ankles and he fell to the ground, face planting hard and sliding on the pavement. He groaned and looked up at me, bleeding from the lip. Did you really just say that? Suck my bolas? You get it, right? Yeah. I got it. I'm here all week whether you like it or not. Come on, upsy daisy. I picked my new friend up and walked him over to the knight stronghold. I'd been a knight for 2 years at that point. It didn't take them long to realize I wasn't the kind to go hunting dragons and saving princesses. I mean, dragons weren't real and, well, I was already married. No, I was more interested in showing up to work, doing the very minimum, collecting my payment, and going home. They stopped putting me down for crusades, expeditions, righteous raids on evil cult bases, yada yada yada. Instead, they had me playing defense by being a patrol officer in the city of Orleans, the largest city in Europe. I say largest because I've never been anywhere else to confirm, but I was probably wrong. I just didn't really love to travel. Orleans was a city on the coast right near the ocean, so that meant travelers and merchants absolutely adored trading here. And the city knew it. A city of commerce, we were. But the king absolutely hated it. He claimed it to be a holy city, one close to God. And I was a believer in everything, but I found it kind of strange God would bless a city known for valuing coins over people, which was often. Gangs leaving deadweight members laying in pools of their own blood, husbands being evicted from their home by wives because they gambled the family cash flow away, and, well, women who sell the only service that every woman has at their disposal, their bodies, which was happening at that moment. I stopped looking and looked over at the woman. The same woman I've helped off the street twice now. I sighed and hailed over to another guard, telling him that I had a date I simply couldn't be late for. He took the perp and I walked over to the girl. As soon as she saw me, her eyes widened, and I could tell she panicked. She turned away, trying to walk in another direction. Elizabeth, I already saw you. Come on back.
Hi, Seth.
What are you doing out here dressed like that? It's cold. You must be freezing.
Yeah, it is, but I have a perfectly good reason.
Let's hear it.
You see, you're a good guy, Seth. Always looking out for people, but some of us just can't be saved. We're all stuck in our old ways. Too far gone, and all that.
Liz, what happened to the job I got you the last time we talked?
Fired me. I can't bake bread worth a damn.
Oh, for God's sake. Where are you staying tonight?
With whoever takes me home, I guess.
Liz, that's illegal. Prostitution isn't allowed in Orleans. Ever since King Francis decided this was the new hotspot for religious folk, he outlawed that. You were there, remember?
That prick's a hypocrite. I slept with him a week before he decided to go all high and mighty.
Can't confirm or deny that, and frankly, I do not want to. Alright, look. How much for full service?
You serious? Right now?
Yes. Come on, how much for everything?
200 coins, 400 for nights, but you're a nice guy, so 390.
I don't need the discount, Liz. Thank you, though. Here. I handed her the coin pouch and she counted it quickly. She was a natural, the mark of someone who counted her payment often. She nodded and gestured around.
Alright, where you want to do it? Your place?
Just pretend we did it everywhere. I paid for the service. That's it. Okay? That should be enough to buy you an in-room for a week or two.
You don't even want a little bit? Nothing?
I'm married, Liz.
So are half my customers.
La 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 la, not listening. La 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 la, stay in a room, don't let me catch you out here again. La 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 la. I covered my ears until she was gone, and I smiled, putting my arms down and shaking my head. I was an idiot for giving her that money. I knew it wasn't going to solve her problem. Temporary solutions and all that. I looked to my side to see another guard approaching me. He informed me that Sir Gregory wanted to see me. Sir Gregory was, officially speaking, my knight. I was technically never completely promoted from squire, but everyone still gave me jobs of knights and paid me as such. But strictly speaking, I was still professionally obligated to do as Sir Gregory asked. I went to the keep and walked inside. There was an argument going on between Sir Gregory and Sir Theodore. It sounded professional, civil, but heated. As I got closer, I heard it more and more clearly.
Completely unreasonable. You understand how many people we'll need for an expedition like this?
I am aware. But what I'm not aware of are any good reasons that you need to bring a patrol officer along with you. His place is here, not there. He's voiced his discontent many times with leaving Orleans. And he's done a fine job upholding everything here. Why uproot that?
I am so sorry to be the one to tell you this, but what the king needs from the knights is far more important than what their comfort zone happens to be. The king needs as many capable men as we can bring with us. Or did you forget who you answer to?
I haven't forgotten. But what of Orleans? Don't you think crime rates will spike when key members of law enforcement are on some expedition on another continent?
The king has expressed in great lengths he will handle the scheduling of all that. He needs as many young and able-bodied knights as we can have with us.
This is a mistake, Gregory. You know that, don't you?
Mistake or not, I answer to the king, not you. I will not allow your familial love to impact the king's decisions. Clear?
Clear.
I'm sorry. Did he say another continent? I'd have been like going to other towns. But if I went in arguing, they'd both likely scold me for eavesdropping, so I opened the door, slowly, pretending I hadn't heard anything. I saw Sir Gregory, the tall, gallant hero the city revered above all others, and my older brother, Theodore. I crossed my arms and sighed. Let me guess. My vacation wasn't approved?
No time for jokes this time, Seth. You have a mission.
Oh man, you know how I feel about doing things. I'm a homebody, Greg, you know that.
Believe me, getting you to do anything is a task in of itself. I'm well aware of that, but unfortunately this is an order from the king. No negotiations.
What am I doing, delivering a warrant to some just average Joe a few towns over?
If only if it were that easy. We have a visitor from a faraway land that's asking for the Crusade's help. Come with us. We'll be debriefing you shortly, where we'll tell the knights their quest.
Wait, they haven't even told us what we're doing when we already agreed to help them?
I don't like it either. But apparently the king himself said it's a religious mission. You know how he feels about those.
Righteous missions are a knight's honor. Hold your tongue.
Just saying it's dangerous to say we'll do something when we don't even know what it is.
I unfortunately agree. So let's go meet with the ambassador. I'll translate for them.
So you know what we're doing already then?
I do. I was in the room with the king when he accepted the proposal.
Is it dangerous, maybe? He looked away for a few moments, as though contemplating how to answer that question. He then turned to the door and walked through it, gesturing us to follow. We walked into a small cathedral, complete with pews and statues of angels and religious figures. Many knights were sitting in the pews, some leaning against walls and pillars, but all of them were looking toward the front where a woman sat. I couldn't make out any of her features. She was dressed in very strange clothing, nothing you'd find in Europe. Her dress was long, covered her arms and legs entirely, and was white with pink flowers that honestly looked dead. The dress itself was faded and old. She sat on her knees, her hands on her lap. She wore an ornate sun hat with a veil covering her eyes. She was eye-catching, to say the least. Gregory walked up in front and kneeled down next to her. She spoke into his ear for a while, until he nodded, standing up.
Men, this is Lady Kamiko. She is an envoy from the faraway land of Japan. She has traveled here after 3 months of voyage to ask us to assist her in an endeavor. She's already met with the king and insisted this is not an easy thing to ask, and she does not do so lightly. But this will be, according to her, a very dangerous mission. In her homeland lies a treasure called Tamamo no Mei, otherwise known as the Nine-Tailed Fox. She says it grants great power and fortune to any who wield it, and that is why it must remain untouched and out of the hands of anyone. As we all know, Some treasures are best left vaulted away. We hear that there are many in Japan who desire this treasure for obvious reasons. We are there to, according to her, exorcise the demons of Japan and come directly home.
Exorcise demons? Surely that's a translation error.
It isn't. Believe me.
Why would she need us for something like slaying demons?
She's aware of our crusades. She explained the Knights of Orleans are famous for destroying demons and securing justice.
Sure, we do all that, but not in a literal sense. We stop bad people from doing bad things, right? So we're told. It's pretty black and white. She's aware that the whole demon thing is a metaphor, right? People started arguing back and forth. Some made jokes, some started questioning things, but the entire room devolved into a debate about the entire thing. What she thought, who she was, if she was telling the truth, how dangerous this all seemed. The room was just filled with discourse.
And what if it isn't a metaphor?
The speech died down as we all looked over at her. My brows furrowed and my eyes squinted. I sat forward from my seat near the back. Gregory looked as confused as the rest of us. She spoke perfect English. Her head slowly turned toward me, and though I couldn't see her eyes, I saw her lips, and she smiled. She rose from her seat, walking slowly over to mine.
What if it's all very real? What if what you've heard isn't real? That your belief system that you leaned so heavily on is leaving something out. Maybe, just maybe, demons aren't simply waiting for the wicked in the afterlife. Maybe they're here now. And they're just like you or anyone in this room. They have thoughts, instinct, ambition. And perhaps all those things are centered toward one thing that could end very badly for humanity. What would you say if your nightmares came to life and didn't just stay in your dreams? What if those nightmares were born of your fear when you dream? That every time you sleep, you brought one into existence.
She stopped in front of me and I still couldn't see her eyes. Not until she bent down. Her eyes were gone. Empty sockets. The very image of it haunted me. Immediately I was speechless.
Would you still sleep so soundly, knowing that you might be making more?
There was something deeply unsettling about her voice. The eyes were one thing, but her voice, it wasn't the tone or the voice itself. It was the echo. The room we were in had a small echo, very easy to miss, but it was there. Her voice sounded like her body was hollow or empty, as though she was nothing more than a shell. What the hell are you?
What do you think I am?
My apologies, Lady Kamiko. We'll reprimand him for speaking out of turn. He meant no ill will, surely.
She stood up and smiled, hiding her empty gaze again, walking back to the front of the room.
I request that you don't. I rather like a little skepticism. A little entertainment when you see the look on their face when they realize everything that they didn't believe in turned out to be a reality. Ensure that that one is with you for the journey. I look forward to getting to know them.
You won't be with us for this journey, Lady Kamiko. What do you mean?
Yes, of course. Disregard that. Please, excuse me as you debrief your soldiers.
Right. We'll be departing for Japan by nightfall tonight. It will take us months to reach the shore. Perhaps even longer than 3 considering the size of the fleet. I understand this is short notice. I do not relish in taking you from your families, but I suspect we will be gone for a year.
I'm going with you. If you're taking Seth, I'm not taking no for an answer.
We talked about this in private. You were told no.
And I accepted that before you told me the length and danger of the mission.
Theo, you're embarrassing me.
Cry about it. I'm not letting you go to another country alone. Nana would never let me live it down.
He won't be alone. I have a whole damn platoon here.
Stop lying if you honestly expect me to believe that even half these men are coming back alive.
Gregory didn't respond. Rome shifted uncomfortably. Gregory wiped his face with his bare hand.
Accept my proposal or accept my resignation.
Excuse me. I will not be threatened into bending the knee to a subordinate.
Then you can explain to the king tonight before leaving while he'll be without his lieutenant for the next forever.
Damn you! Fine! Pack a bag. You better share rations. Looks like you're gonna lose weight, Seth. You've been packing on a few pounds anyway.
Low blow, Cap.
Everyone adjourned. Go tell your families. And tell them that you go in the name of God and the king. And then, pray that's enough.
Fucking year. A year away from home. I didn't even like being gone for a day. I had to adjust to a ship full of sweaty dudes and tell my wife that she'd be getting no loving from me. I feared the conversation. God, Rose was gonna be pissed.
Okay, be safe.
Look, I'm sorry, but wait, what?
What? I said be safe.
You're not mad?
Why would I be angry? I kind of signed up for all of this when I agreed to marry you.
Yeah, but... Are you sure?
Should I not be? Should I be worried?
I'm just kind of unsure that you understand the gravity of what's happening here.
You're going on a ship to Japan. Probably gonna be gone a year, more or less. I won't hear from you at all until I know you're back or I find out you're dead.
Okay, so you do understand.
Yeah. Sorry, did you expect me to freak out? You can take care of yourself, Seth. I'm not worried about that. I knew that there would be a chance you wouldn't come home one day, so, you know.
You don't sound too upset at the idea. She wrapped her arms gently around my neck and kissed me sweetly, looking up at me with those wondrous green eyes.
I just have faith you'll come back to me, that's all.
I appreciate the vote of confidence. I'll miss you, you know? A lot.
I know. So don't do anything stupid over there so you can come home.
I promise to minimize the stupidity.
Besides, Theo will keep me company. He always stops by when you're gone.
Theo's going with me, I'm afraid.
What? Why?
His request doesn't want me to go by myself and let me get into trouble.
If Theo is going... Seth, is this going to be dangerous?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, for God's sake. I thought this was just some stupid delivery or something easy. Listen to me. You have to be careful. You understand?
Well, there's the caring wife I don't know but very much love.
Stop joking. Seriously. Come home safe. And make sure he does too, okay?
I promise. On to important business. Did you make dinner? Because I am starving.
Nah, I just made the place smell like pork and potatoes because it sounded fun. Of course I made dinner. Sit down. I'll get you a plate.
It was my last home-cooked meal for a long time. I savored every bite. Rose was a fantastic cook, and this particular meal was heavenly. I still think about it sometimes. The home-cooked meal before my life irreparably changed forever. After my last bite, I rose from my seat and packed a small bag for myself. A change of clothes, a few keepsakes, nothing crazy. As I left my doorstep, Rose stopped me.
Are you going to visit Delroy's before you go?
I am. Already planned on it.
You say that every time you go anywhere, and you never do.
It's really hard, Rose. Seeing her like that, it's hard.
She would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm going. I love you.
I know.
I walked away from my house for the last time in a long time. I had my destination in mind. I walked to the orphanage just on top of the hill on the west end of the city and went inside. It was empty, just as it always is. I sighed, putting my things down, and walked up the stairs. The door in front of me was light, creaky, and old. I could have crushed it just by squeezing it. I could have pulled it off its hinges. Yet it still seemed like the hardest door in the world to open. But I didn't know if it would be my last chance. I slowly pushed on it, and when I realized it wasn't opening from my lightest touch, I hesitated. Almost as a, look, you have an opportunity to back out still. But I didn't. I pushed it until it opened. I saw a sight that crushed my heart. I grew up here. I never knew my parents. Theo was my older brother, and we both grew up here with my little sister after my parents died. I didn't know them too well. Anyway, I grew up with other kids, and the one who took care of all of us was a kind, pure-hearted woman named Dolores. And there she lay in her bed, barely aware of her surroundings, too old to do anything for herself. She turned to me, and her foggy eyes lost so much sight that she couldn't probably see me too well. So I got closer, seeing her so broken down. It was hard. I pulled up a chair from the side and reached out. I slowly touched her hand, almost afraid of how it would feel. Instead of being repulsed, I felt my childhood embrace me. I held her hand snugly, looking at her. She recognized me and smiled.
Hey, Nana. How are you feeling?
She didn't reply. She lost her voice years ago, before I even moved out. She just rolled her eyes and shrugged, then chuckled to herself. Couldn't help but smile. That spirit inside her just couldn't be killed. I nodded, looking down. Yeah, I've been okay, you know. Working for the Knights and just kind of, like, stopping criminals and shit like that. Her face showed disapproval. Not because of what I've been up to, but because of what I said.
Sorry, things like that.
She smiled and nodded, satisfied.
And Rose says hello and all that. Before you ask, no, I haven't talked to Hilda lately. I don't know how to these days. But before I leave, I'll try.
She furrowed her brow, tilting her head. She nudged me and shook her head, confused.
I got told a few hours ago that I'm leaving Orleans, probably for about a year. And they had me on this boat. I'm going to Japan, of all places. I don't feel right about it. Something about this entire mission seems off. I mean, the woman with the no eyes, the hollow voice, and something tells me this nine-tailed fox treasure just isn't some treasure. I think there's something going on here that
I looked up at her, and confusion was written all over her face. She gripped my hand tightly. I looked down.
I don't want to go. But I have to, and I'm sorry I didn't visit sooner. I really am. You were just so strong when I was a kid, and seeing you like this, seeing the strongest person you know, I'm sorry.
She tilted my chin up to face her. She patted my head and brushed my hair and smiled. She shook her head. She had already forgiven me before I even apologized.
I'll miss you. And I'll see you when I get back, okay? I love you.
She blew a kiss to me and patted my hand, releasing it. I rose from my chair and walked to the door, looking back one last time.
Hey, by the way, remember when you got mad at Theo for eating like half the cookies before supper? That was me. I'm sorry I lied.
She huffed, laughing and shaking her head at me. I smiled and walked out of the room. I walked out of the building and headed for the night quarters by the dock. I walked through the city and remembered feeling sad.
Like it wasn't just bye for now, but bye forever. I was probably just nervous, I figured. And I was. I was scared shitless. But never underestimate the power of saying, "Do it, pussy." I got to the dock and entered the building, and I had already signed in and everything like that, but I wanted to see someone. I went to the back, ignoring everyone, to see a young woman in a nice shirt, younger than me. Her long, dark hair and a messy ponytail over her shoulders. That dark hair is how I knew she was related to me. I tapped on her desk.
Yeah?
She didn't look up. "Hey, kiddo. Busy?"
Yeah, kinda.
"You're always busy. You got a sec?"
I can listen and write.
I'm leaving.
Alright. See ya.
I didn't even tell you where or how long. Ugh. I'm going to Japan. I'm gonna be gone about a year.
Long time.
Yeah. Theo is, he's coming with me.
Got it.
What happened to us, Hilda? You barely look at me anymore. I mean, do you hate me?
No, Seth. You're my brother. I love you. I always will. I'm just busy right now.
That is what you say every single time. You are always busy.
Yeah, sorry about that. But I gotta keep working.
Hilda, it's gonna be dangerous. I might not make it back. Can you at least look at me? She dropped her pen and looked up at me slowly. Those honey brown eyes. They had so much disinterest and indifference in them. I looked away and nodded, sighing. All right, well, I don't want to bother you any more than I have. Have a good day at work. I walked away.
Hey, Seth?
I turned around, a shimmer of hope shining through that she might have something to say to me. And, she was just holding my bag that I dropped by her desk. Her head was still down, and I frowned, grabbing my bag and leaving. Some goodbye. I saw the knights at the dock and joined them. Walked aboard the ship and put my things down. I was on ship 4 of 5. A platoon of 50 knights in total, 10 per ship, just in case something happened along the way. But considering Gregory went out of his way to hire the 5 best ship captains in the country for this, I think it was a safe bet we'd make it.
Seth, always the last one here.
Well, you usually want to save the best for last.
As predictable as sunset. Speaking of which, it's past then. We need to depart in a few minutes. So if any of you men want to give your woman a child before you go, you better make it quick.
Everyone laughed and I put my sack down. Theo came up to me and nudged me. "Hey, you gonna be alright on this?" So now you want to be the sweet older brother.
Shut up. Better late than never, right? I mean it. You never been on a crusade, an expedition, nothing. I mean, you have, but, you know.
Yeah, I remember. I stayed with the horses. I didn't want to go.
So, what's the plan? Gonna stay back and out of the way?
You know me so well.
Good. 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 That's what I wanted to hear.
He patted my shoulder and walked away. Shortly afterwards, our ships departed. Many of the families of the knights were at the dock waving them goodbye. Rose wasn't there. Dolores wasn't there. Hilda wasn't there. It stung. We were far away from the shore after a few hours. All we saw was open seas. Sat down on the taffrail of the ship, looking toward the front, watching the waves, and seeing how vast the world was. The world I avoided so much. I swirled my drink in my glass, then took a sip.
Seth.
I looked up, then put my drink down, started standing up. He put his hand up, signaling not to.
Is Theodore around?
Probably sleeping in the barracks?
Why aren't you?
I don't know. Not really tired. Why? You want me to go to bed too?
No, just listen. Just be careful. This is going to be harmful if you let your guard down.
I know. I kind of already prepared for all that.
Not because of Japan. Because of Theodore.
My brother?
He doesn't care about you, Seth. Not a little bit. Believe me.
What the hell that's supposed to mean?
Lower your voice. Do you want him to hear?
I don't know, do I?
I'm telling you the truth. You've done really well on patrol. You've been recommended for promotion 3 times. All 3 times Theodore fought it.
But I didn't want the promotion. I like what I do.
Then that should be up to you, not him. He only came on this mission because you were. Do you know why?
To protect me, he told me that.
No, to outshine you. To ensure he gets the glory you do not. He is narcissistic and selfish. There is no stage big enough for him and someone else. He lies about his intentions and ambitions, but there is always something behind it.
Do you mean to say he might actually try to, like, hurt me or something out there?
Doubtful. I don't think he'd go that far. But he doesn't respect you. He doesn't love you as a brother should. I'm around him enough to know that.
Why? What's he said to you?
He knows not to say anything to me. You're my squire. That'd be profoundly idiotic. I don't tell you this to hurt you, or to even guarantee what I say is true. I say it for one purpose. Look after yourself. Be careful.
I don't believe you. I'm sorry, but I just don't.
That's okay. I understand. I wouldn't either. Just as long as you want your back around him. Just as long as you get what you want out of your life.
Why do you care so much anyway?
You're my squire. I protect Orleans from everything I can. Besides, I like you. I like the jokes you tell, even if I'm not allowed to laugh.
I watched him leave, and I picked up my drink again. I stared into the glass for a while, swirling around the ale. I stared off, wondering, what if he's right? Because if he is, this boat ride was gonna suck. 148 days. That's how long we were at sea. We were all sick of each other. We hadn't seen the other knights from the other ships at all. So it was just me and the 9 other guys I was on board with for like 5 months. Multiple physical fights broke out on the ship, so they had to lock a few guys up for like a few days, sometimes weeks. And it helped make them realize they'd rather be a prisoner on the deck than a prisoner in a dark, damp cell. But it was time. It was night. The moon was at its peak. And at long last, we saw the shoreline. We were dressed in armor, had our weapons at the ready. Gregory walked forward and I stood next to Theo.
It's been months since we departed for Japan. Almost 5 if I had to guess. But we're here. Thankfully we chose smaller vessels, huh? In any case, once we dock, we're gonna cut through the nearby village of Kuroha and find ourselves in the small city of Chiome. Once there, the village elder will direct us. Let me do the talking. Not that you have a general choice. I speak the language.
Show off.
That being said, we'll be porting in under 5 minutes. Then, we march. If you get tired, well, you've had about 5 months of rest. So I don't want to hear any complaining.
As he said, we boarded moments later. The ship came to a slow stop. I almost thought we missed the shoreline of the deck. All 5 ships were stopped and ready to pull out. We got up from our seats and looked around and no one was there. There wasn't even a light near the single house on the beach we saw. We were told the locals would be expecting us and come to greet us. Thought they might have forgotten. Then I saw the light. The bright, wide light rising into the sky like a wave of stars shooting through the night. They rose and rose into the wild yonder, almost greeting their brethren in the great beyond. Then, they began to fall. They rapidly approached our position as the shape began to split, and it wasn't a twinkling I saw, but burning. And those were not stars. Those were arrows. Shields. 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 Shields! 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 In one fleeting moment, our numbers were nearly halved. Arrows punctured the ships and the bodies of far too many of us. Arrows lighting their already still corpses on fire and leaving them lifeless. I fell backward, not able to grab my shield, and fortune was with me as the closest one nearly singed my hair. I swatted it out swiftly as I saw Theo and Gregory were one of the few with instincts that were quick enough to raise their bulwark. They struggled to their feet, looking around for their attackers. One of the men that was hit in the stomach. He pulled the flaming arrow out and dropped it into the deck. His shirt was on fire, so he jumped overboard, and in an open wound, he hit the salt water. And his screams were mistaken as a war cry. And that's when they attacked us. The archers that attacked us were samurai, flashing their blades, sprinting down the hill at us. Their helmets, complete with their demonic wooden face masks, made them all the more menacing. The ones of us that survived the sky-brightening barrage jumped onto the deck and unsheathed their longswords, charging into battle and engaging the enemy on the shore. Theo grabbed 2 swords and jumped ahead, and I leapt up and I grabbed his shoulder.
What are you doing? In case you haven't noticed, the battle has started. Are you so fucking soft you don't know how to fight? We can't just slaughter the fucking locals. They attacked us first, Seth. This is on them.
He ripped away from me and sprinted ahead. I stood there, shaking my head, shocked by the situation. My shoulder was sharply punched by Gregory, trying to snap me out of my daze.
He's right. We have to defend ourselves. Just stay alert and keep your sword up. And if worse comes to worse, run.
What about no man left behind and shit like that?
I feel responsible for you being here. It's a selfish request, but follow orders. Am I clear?
Sir. Understood. I watched him run off. I realized I was the last one on the ship. Seriously. Even the captain jumped overboard and was hiding behind the port side hull. I promised Rose I'd come home. I promised Dolores I'd see her again, and I still wanted Hilda to look at me one day, and going out there was suicide. I'd never get to do any of that if I went off that boat. Yeah, I did it. How'd you guess? I grabbed my longsword and I jumped off the dock, looking around for anyone I could help. It didn't take long for my dance partner to greet me. He swung his katana with great discipline toward my head, and I raised my sword and guarded the vertical strike. His armor was blood red, and his helm had a cone shape at the top with deer antlers attached. His face was covered with a fanged face mask. It was nothing short of terrifying. He disengaged his sword from my guard and swung again, and I blocked once again. I needed to put all that sword fighting practice to use. I attacked him, and when he blocked it, I swore his stance nor his blade faltered. He had intense discipline and strength, and I didn't have any of that. He also had one last thing I didn't have. Honor. I crouched down, swinging my sword upwards as a feint as I grabbed some sand with my offhand and I threw it in his eyes. I heard him groan, and I reached my sword outward and stabbed him. Blood soaked through his tunic, and he grabbed my sword before it went any deeper than surface, and then he kicked me in the stomach, knocking the damn wind out of me. I coughed, and then he swung his sword down again, and I raised mine, blocking it with 2 hands, one on the flat side of the blade for leverage. And even with that, with all my strength and his wound, wasn't enough to keep his strength at bay. He had the height advantage, with him standing and me kneeling, and the sword got lower and closer to my head. I gritted my teeth and turned my brows down, trying to get angry and motivated, but strength is not conditional. And then he died. In an instant. I didn't kill him. Not Theo, not Gregory, not one of my own men, not even one of his. Something I really wish didn't exist. Killed him. A great, brutish cleaver of a blade sank through his chest and lorded over me, and the blood from the blade, the heroic samurai's blood, dripped onto my forehead as I stared up in horror as the killer came into view. I had no idea how I hadn't noticed him approach. If you told me he was a demon, I would have believed you. Which is exactly what he was. His mouth was 2 feet wide with rows of teeth that numbered in the hundreds. His eye holes were empty and his skin was like tree bark.
His horns, his horrifically twisted and deformed horns, they glowed. Then... He picked up the samurai and sated his hunger. I didn't hear the screams. None of them. I only hear a faint ringing in my ears then. I stared with no thoughts in my head, like my brain turned off until I felt it. I felt his eyes turn to me. And that's when I awoke. I grabbed my sword, and when fight or flight kicked in, it chose to fight. I stabbed him through the roof of his mouth with my sword, and he screamed in what I hoped was pain, but I couldn't pull the sword out. And his jaws tried to clamp down. It made the pain worse. A lot worse. But I lost my sword in the process. What the fuck are these things?
Demons. Just like Lady Kamiko said. I can't believe it. Everyone! Eyes up! Our enemies are not ones of this world!
They're fucking eating people!
Seth! Run!
What? But...
That's a damn order! Leave! Now! Find safety! Find a way to contact the locals and figure out what to do!
Are you insane? Why are you sending him? Give me an opening and I can...
No time! He's the furthest away! Stop staring and go! You promised you'd get home to Rose, didn't you?
I don't speak Japanese. How the hell will I get help?
Needing help is a universal language. They will see your panic and desperation. I know these people. Now go!
Don't you fucking leave, you backstabbing motherfucker!
Leave! Find us hope!
Seth, I swear to God, if you leave me to die!
Go!
Theo. I can't leave him.
He'd leave you. Did you just hear him? Keep your promise before that thing wakes up! You owe it to Rose!
Seth.
You're not leaving us to die. You're giving us a chance to live! Find help! I beg of you!
I'm sorry, Theo. I scrambled to my feet, empty-handed, and sprinted toward the left of the beach, away from my comrades, and headed into the forest. And then I heard it. You're fucking dead to me, you piece of shit! Tears misted into my eyes and burned. What he said killed me. It broke my heart. I wasn't trying to leave him. I was trying to get help. I just wanted us to have the best chance to survive, and Gregory thought I was it. What an idiot. I was nobody. No one. But he believed. And I honored that. I ran through the thick foliage, passing the heavy leaves and bushes, and ran for what felt like 10 minutes. I doubled over in the clearing, exhausted, feeling safe in the middle of a patch of bushes away from sight. I took a few moments to think about what just happened. My cowardice or bravery, I didn't know. I couldn't tell. Sweat mixed with the blood on my face, and it smelled horrific. I looked up, ready to keep going, telling myself I'd never help anyone if I just stood there and felt bad about everything. I stood up, walking forward, and I stopped when I heard a twig snap. So I looked under my feet, and there was no twig to speak of. I looked up when I heard deformed growling. Then, warriors. Soldiers out of the bushes and surrounded me, and I panicked. I was unarmed. I couldn't defend myself. I panicked even further when I noticed they had no skin. They were skeletons standing upright, and their eyes glowed red. They were wearing dilapidated armor and hats and helmets and everything, all frayed and rotting just like they were. Their swords were rusted and chipped. They had been dead long before we got there. But they were still moving. Fuck. No, not now. I have to help them. I backed away until I heard the sound from behind me too. I had nowhere to run. I raised my hands, but not to fight, but to pray. God, if you can hear me, I'm sorry I wasn't a worthy servant. I'm sorry I skipped church so often and I didn't worship you enough. But please grant me safe passage to paradise and help everyone get out of there alive. I know what you're thinking. This is crazy, right? Like, this is insane. This is intense and interesting and gripping. But you're thinking, what about me? Well, you'll never guess who showed up next. Arrows pelted the skulls of the skeletons and they fell apart, hissing in pain. I looked up to see them go down and looked into the sky and saw the moon with a silhouette in it. You sure know how to make an entrance. You knocked 2 arrows into your bow and shot them at me. Or so I thought. They nailed the 2 creatures standing on either side of me, knocking them both down. You landed in the clearing, straw hat covering your head, and you threw your bow down, reached back and drew 2 blades. You held your blades backwards, resembling katanas, although they were shorter than the ones the samurai were carrying. You rushed past me and slashed the skeletons down. I stared at you, my mouth agape, my heart racing. I didn't think I'd be alive in that moment. I forgot how to live. You turned to me, your face hidden, and kicked one of the rusted katanas across the ground, landing in front of me. We heard more coming, and you gestured impatiently at the sword. I nodded and picked it up, holding it like I would a normal longsword. They broke through the clearing and shambled toward us. Who are you? Do you know what the hell these things are? Fine. Let's call them what they are. Left to right. We jumped forward and cut them down with great ease. Their brittle bones and cheap armor could do little to stop the blades we wielded. It felt scary. Then after a bit it felt natural. Then it felt good. Feeling the snap of their bones, feeling the strength of the sword, I was having fun while my comrades were in danger. My smile faded and I looked to see everyone we cut down, another just took its place. I was exhausted. I watched my friends die, I watched my enemies die, and I was almost one of them. My mind was on the brink of collapse. And then I noticed you were gone.
They left?
No, please, no! Where are you? Then an arrow flew by me and hit one of the skeletons. I looked in the direction of the archer to see you, beckoning me desperately. I looked back at the skeletons and I figured, what the hell? The one trying to kill the things that are trying to kill me, I'll take my chances with you. They couldn't catch us, simply put. I ran across the ground and you jumped into the trees and jumped along the branches nimbly. I couldn't do that. So I was afraid of getting left behind, but no matter how tired I got, and how much faster you were, you never left me behind. You stopped in front of a massive patch of bamboo trees and faced me as I caught up to you. I put the sword in my belt and it didn't fit the scabbard. I didn't care. I caught my breath as I looked back and you pulled the bamboo apart, revealing a hut. I looked at it strangely, furrowing my brows.
At your house or something?
You spoke Japanese to me and then pointed at the hut.
Right. Of course you speak Japanese. Why the fuck wouldn't you speak Japanese?
You gestured me to follow you, and I sighed. I stepped over the bamboo and walked towards the hut. You opened the curtain made of straw and hay and let me walk ahead of you. It was a big hut, in all honesty. It was a single room, but there was a lot of space. A single bed that looked way comfier than it probably was, but I was super tired. A controlled fire to light the room, a tea kettle near it, towels, blankets, clothes, a wall of ingredients, and game from hunts. And thankfully, plenty of space for me to sit. And I was exhausted.
Holy shit. Oh my god. I don't think I've ever been so scared in my life. I thought I was gonna die.
I bent down, trying to process everything. You came over to me, putting a hand on my back. I looked over at you and you gestured me to sit by the tea kettle. I nodded, did so. I collapsed and I wanted to cry. I felt like a child. You came by and made tea quickly as I stared at the fire. Couldn't decide if I wanted to have a panic attack or go into shock. I was teetering on the edge of both. You put up a cup in front of me and did the drinking motion. I nodded, taking a sip.
I almost spit it out. It tasted terrible. But it helped me relax. You chuckled, finding amusement in my displeasure. I sighed. Thank you for saving me. I don't know how you... I know you don't understand me, but... You... Thank you. You rose to your feet and put your hands out, signaling to stay put. You opened a small box under your bed and pulled out a necklace. It was a crystal purple amethyst attached to a string. What am I gonna do? I gotta find a nearby village and help my friends. They're goners if I don't, but... How the fuck am I gonna get them to understand me? He showed me the necklace kneeling in front of me. Huh? Yeah, pretty nice job, but... Seriously, do you understand me? Can you speak even a word of English? You put the necklace over my head, and the moment you let it fall, it glowed for a half second, and then faded. I shook my head. Yeah, real pretty. Thanks. Looks like an amethyst. Oh, really? I thought it was an amethyst. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. It does look kind of like a resin now that I... Wait a minute! You spoke English! You could understand me? What? I'm not speaking Japanese. I don't know a damn word of it. And you were just pretending to not understand me at all. What do you mean now you can? That doesn't make any... What? Wait, what? This thing? This necklace? Well, you mean to tell me this necklace automatically translates language? You expect me to believe that? Well... No, now that you mention it, I've never seen demons either. What's this thing called? A Y stone. Okay, yeah, sure. Why not? Why not? Not even the craziest thing I've seen in the last 10 minutes. So to you, I'm speaking perfect Japanese. Neat trick. Yeah. Well, great. You can understand. Wait, you can understand me. Oh my God, my people, they need help. They're on the beach being killed. We have to... What? You already found them. Were they okay? Only a few survivors. Fuck. Well, where did the survivors go? Of course you don't know. No, sorry. I shouldn't be rude. You saved my life. You saved me. I owe you. Seriously, I owe you. But what the fuck were those things? And how the hell are you so natural about all this? You told me over 30 minutes what they were. You went into detail. You wanted to ensure that I knew them just as well as you did. You were always good about that. I was shocked. I didn't see any objection to any of it. The way you spoke. I mean, I knew you weren't lying. I couldn't see your eyes. And it bothered me. I was afraid they'd be like hers. Empty. But I stayed vigilant and let you finish. Okay. Recap. So those things, they're called yokai. Evil spirits of the dead that eventually took over the living and started walking around just like humans do. Some are brain-dead shells, so all they know how to do is kill and eat, and some are so sophisticated and smart that they're craftier than people are. And apparently all of them eat human flesh. Great. Some are so legendary and powerful and feared that they're named, but most yokai are crazed demons that just want a bite to eat. That about right? Look at me, a regular fucking genius. Holy shit. Demons are real. Who knew? Dumb question you did. Oh, God. So, how do you know so much about them? You hunt them or something? Get compared to them a lot. The hell does that mean? Why would you be compared to them? You looked down sadly, shaking your head. You lifted your hands towards your hat and your fingers trembled. You removed the hat from your head and looked at me. Your eyes were glowing very faintly. You had fox ears on top of your head. I stared at you and I drew my sword, pointing it at you, scrambling to my feet. You're one of them? You, the one that helped me?
The one I have to thank for me still breathing. You. The yokai.